we have a clip here of Obama's Department of Homeland Security Secretary talking about these border numbers are difficult to handle. Play that clip.
Without a doubt, these are large numbers. DHS, I believe, has learned lessons from the past, in surges in the past, including when I was in office. But still, numbers at these level are difficult to handle on the southern border, communities on the southern border, Catholic Charities that volunteers. Difficult to absorb these types of numbers under almost any scenario. It's challenging for the Border Patrol, for ICE, to properly process and track these individuals. And obviously, the Biden administration is paying a political cost.
Shut that border down. Shut that border down. Period. You know, you want to talk about these 501c3s and these nonprofits like Catholic Charities, they're part of the problem. Catholic Charities, those organizations do not need to be operating. You need to revoke their license as a 501c3 to operate in the state of Texas, for instance. Revoke their license. They should not be allowed to operate. They're part of the problem. They're part of the trafficking problem. They're part of the human slave trade, sex trade operations that are going on. They go in there, they're funding these people to go to anywhere into the country that they go. They disappear under the cover of night, and they're never to be seen again. So organizations like that. And the Border Patrol, God bless our Border Patrol agents. They're like, people come at me, they get mad at me because they say, oh, you keep picking on teachers. I'm not picking on teachers. I'm picking on the school system that is abusing teachers. Wake up, people. Wake up to what I'm saying. All right? The school system, you're being victimized if you're a teacher. So when I talk about the Border Patrol, I'm not talking about specific Border Patrol agents. I'm talking about the system that's abusing these law enforcement officers. The Border Patrol agents are being abused by a system where they've taken an oath. They can't go out and do their job. They can't enforce the law. They're basically a federal Uber driver that drives them into town to a processing facility or to one of these Catholic Charities or one of these other nonprofit 501c3s where they get their slap on the wrist and their plane ticket or bus ticket to anywhere. Now, Greg Abbott, and I didn't have a chance to talk about this because we didn't tape on Friday, and I wanted to, but I talked about it on Twitter and various other places about Greg Abbott, who comes on there and says, we're going to provide, that's his word, we will be providing, and I quote, providing charter buses, and we're going to take, Abbott disturbs me with the way he talks with his Biden administration. He just slurs his words together. Biden administration, illegal immigrants. Anyway, that's just me being petty, but it still gets on my nerves. But he says we're going to bust these illegal immigrants. Washington, D.C., where the Biden administration could deal with them. And so provide charter buses for them to go to D.C. Well, the deal is you're going to provide it, but they have to volunteer. And so, and they're not going to. So I made a video about I'm just going to take my truck down there and see how many volunteer to jump in for a ride to Washington, D.C. Nobody wants to go to Washington, D.C. I don't want to go to Washington, D.C. None of us want to go. No, Americans don't want to go to Washington, D.C. anymore. Why do you want to go to Washington, D.C.? Do you think people coming to the southern border want to suddenly go to the Beltway? I don't think so. No, they want to disappear. They want to go out there and make their money, make their cash, and do their thing somewhere in America. They don't want to go to Washington, D.C., so they're not going to volunteer to go to Washington, D.C. I promise you, Hector, who's coming from Guatemala, does not want to go to Alexandria, all right? He's not. He doesn't have a reservation at the Ruth's Chris.